Whether you're in the market for a beginner-friendly camera, looking to get into film photography, or even if you just want more aesthetic Instagram photos, this video is for you. Hi, I'm Becca, and I am completely camera obsessed. This is kind of sounding like an AA meeting. I mean, I always kind of was. Like, I used to take pictures on my mom's digital camera growing up. As soon as I got my first iPhone or even iPod Touch, throwback for all of my oldies out there, I was immediately taking pictures of everything. I had an Instagram as soon as it came out. I've never deleted a photo. Do not go scroll through my Instagram. It does span every embarrassing era from my life for the past 15 or however many years. That being said, I've always been interested in photography. It's always been kind of a fun side hobby for me, but the last few years, it has really taken over my life. I got into photography a little bit more professionally. I do portrait photo shoots here and there, and I really do use it as one of my artistic outlets. And it doesn't just stop at a classic digital camera. No. I have multiple digital options, film options, and even instant photo options. And I still have more I add to my camera wish list every day. This video is really for those of you who are maybe like me, camera obsessed, or even like you have that initial interest in photography. You love taking photos on your phone and you're looking for that next step. It could even be if you're looking to get into photography as more than just a hobby, maybe as a job, if you're an aspiring content creator, and even if you already are a photographer, but like me, you're always adding to your wish list and you're looking to invest in your next camera. The disclaimer before we get into it is you will notice that none of these cameras are Canon or Nikon. I know, you guys, crazy. And really, I have nothing against those brands. Honestly, I don't know much about those brands other than the propaganda. I'm sure that they make good cameras and that's why they are so popular. And I'm not against getting a Canon or Nikon camera in the future, but I'm a girly on a budget. And that's also what we're going to talk about in this video, is how to get good cameras on a budget and how you don't need to settle for brand recognizability or popularity. You don't need to get that Canon digital camera just because your favorite influencer has it. There are a bunch of other great camera brands that you can get just as good of photos on. So in this video, I am going to go through every camera I own, who I would recommend them for, what type of photos I use them for, and I'll show you actual photo examples that I've taken on them. Anyway, I'm rambling at this point. Let's get into the video. I'm going to start with instant cameras because that's kind of where my photography journey started. This Fujifilm Instax Mini 7S was my first camera other than like my mom's digital camera, disposables, and using my phone. Like, this is almost vintage at this point. I got this in probably 2014. This was before they had really like blown up on Tumblr and like the super colorful ones were all at Urban Outfitters. I had seen just like a few things about this online, probably on Tumblr, probably on Polyvore, and I knew I needed one. I found one at Walmart while I was grocery shopping with my mom. It was $60 and I talked her into getting it for me. And this is that. As you can tell, this has been a workhorse for me. It's seen better days. I really don't use this much anymore. Most recently, I've actually just lent it out a few times to my friends for like events and travel. But from high school into college, I'm telling you, this girl did it all for me. I have that entire time of my life on instant photos, and it is really, really special to look back on. I'll show you a few here. This is a super simple camera. There's not a lot of controls on it. It's point and shoot, and honestly, it's really hard to get bad photos. Fujifilm is doing really good with their instant film in general, so it's super user-friendly. I always recommend this type of camera if you like to host events or if you have an event coming up like a wedding or a baby shower, a bachelorette. Everyone, like seriously everybody, loves to take an instant photo and get that photo of the moment and hold it in their hand. It's just a crowd pleaser. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend this specific model because it is so much older, but they have the updated versions of these that have a little bit more control, but they're still super simple and they come in a bunch of cute colors. So if instant photography interests you at all, this is where I would recommend starting. Next up, we have my Fujifilm Instax Mini Evo, and this was my upgrade from the Instax Mini. I absolutely love her. This was actually a gift from my boyfriend for Christmas a few years ago. One of the best gifts I've ever been given. He is so good at that. Now this one is definitely pricier. It retails for $200. So that's what I mean when I say that it definitely is an upgrade. I wouldn't recommend this unless you are taking instant photos more regularly than just during events, or if you're just more interested in the hobby and collecting in general. It's basically if a digital camera and an instant camera had a baby. It has a ton of different settings and features, and it even has like an actual screen on here. Here, let me show you. I don't know if this will actually be focused for you, but you have that entire little screen. So you can see what your photo is going to look like, and even better than that, you can choose which photos you print. So this is huge because even though the Instax Minis are super foolproof, super user-friendly, there still are times where, you know, your finger is in the way or someone blinks right as the picture is taken. That's not an issue with this one because if that happens, you just take another picture and you print that one instead. And it even connects to an app on your phone where you can send the photos that you take on this to your phone, a digital version of it, so you can post that online or just so you have a digital copy of it. And on top of that, you can print any photo from your phone camera on this camera. So you can take a photo on your phone and then send it to print off of this camera. Huge game changer. There's also features I wanted like a self-timer, flash, a bunch of different filters. It's just a really fun device to use. And I also just love the aesthetic of it. Like, that is so cute. I just love the vintage look. So I'd recommend this for anybody who has had an Instax Mini that they love using. Maybe you're burning through film really quickly. Honestly, I mean, you're paying more up front for the camera, but you might be saving in the long run because you'll be spending less on film since you'll have less accidental photos. So, you know, pros and cons, this is basically that step up from that Instax Mini. Last up in my instant camera collection is the Polaroid Now. I got this secondhand off of Poshmark in 2022 for about $50. So a pretty good deal. I think they were like $100 new at the time. And it's funny because I actually ordered it in pink and then they accidentally sent me red and I was super bummed about it, which is crazy. It's like the universe knew that I was going to end up completely rebranding myself into loving the color red. So thank you, universe. And thank you, Poshmark seller that sent me the wrong color. Now, something I've noticed is that a lot of people don't know that Polaroid and Fujifilm Instax are actually different companies and different types of cameras. Polaroid was that original instant photo company, and it's kind of like the whole tissue versus Kleenex thing where a lot of people will just refer to tissues as Kleenex even though that's a brand. I feel like Polaroid got popular enough that people just refer to instant photos as Polaroids. And I don't really care about that. I'm not trying to gatekeep, but I just did want to make it clear this is a different company than Fujifilm Instax, the two cameras that I showed you previously. And that was a big reason that I even got this camera, is as a photography nerd, I wanted a Polaroid. I wanted that more like classic look, that vintage look, and I wanted that classic Polaroid square shape. Something that was a big selling point for me on this was that it does have a self-timer. I take a lot of my own photos, so that's always necessary in cameras that I get. It's rechargeable, it has a flash, and it even can do double exposures, which is just a little bit more artsy, a little bit like higher level photography, which is really fun. Now, that being said, I will say I don't think this camera is beginner friendly. I don't know if I would really recommend it to most people. What I really use this camera for is like actual artistic expression. I don't pull this camera out if I'm wanting to guarantee the photo. I have taken some great photos on this, photos that I love, but I will say the film, the Polaroid film is very temperamental and it still feels very experimental. I might not get all this history right, but from what I've heard, the original Polaroid company ended up going out of business, and there was this like startup company, grassroots, that wanted to keep the Polaroid name and like film alive. And so they really invested in like recreating that film formula. And that's who owns Polaroid now. But they are still really working on that science of instant film, because I think the like original science was lost or something. Don't quote me on that. This is just what I've seen in passing. And so Polaroid film is way more temperamental than Instax film. It will be more blue toned in the winter and more pink red toned in the summer, which again is fun, but just it's not as reliable if you want to guarantee true coloring every single time. And the film is pricier than Instax film and you get less. So there is that element to it as well. It's a little bit more of an expensive hobby camera. So if you're just looking for that instant photo guarantee memento type thing, go with one of the Instax cameras that I just talked about. And if you're looking for more of an artistic expression, experimental type of thing, the Polaroid might be the way to go. I don't know if I'd recommend the Polaroid now. In general, there's been quite a few new models since then, so look into that a little bit. I obviously can't speak for those, and I'm sure they have their own pros and cons. Polaroid is just like for the photography lovers, I feel like. Moving on to my personal favorite, my real true love in photography, film cameras. Film is really having its resurgence moment right now, and I know a lot of people are looking to get into it, so here's how I got into it and what I would recommend. I don't have it physically with me because it's in my vacation stuff in the closet and I didn't want to go through everything and pull it out, but the Lomography simple use camera is where I got my film start after using disposables. Basically what it is a reloadable disposable camera. It has the same like very simple point and shoot features that a disposable camera has, but you can reload it with new film and take as many photos as you want. There are a ton of options of cameras like this these days, so honestly you could really start with any of those that have good reviews. I think Target has a good one. But the reason that I recommend this one and the reason that I ended up going with it is Lomography is a camera brand, so I felt like I could trust them a little bit more. The one that I got also came with a waterproof case that I thought was really cool. And it came with film already in it. And these like cute little color filters that are just fun to experiment, play around with. I think it's like $20, $30 depending which retailer you get it from. I can't remember exactly how much I spent on it. It was a few years ago now. But I really recommend starting with a camera like this that is just a disposable that you can reload because it's more cost effective. And you just get to really experiment and play around with if you even like the film photo process. Because it is just so different from what we are used to in this day and age. We're used to that instant gratification of being able to see the photo on our phone immediately. So having this camera, it teaches you to be more intentional while also not having the pressure that you would of like a more expensive film camera or a harder to use film camera. And honestly, I still really like this camera just because it is like so lightweight, it's plastic, it has that waterproof case. I'll throw it in my bag for trips to like the beach or the pool, places where I know I want to get a few film photos and I don't want to risk getting one of my nicer film cameras wet or ruining it. I think a lot of us used disposable cameras growing up, and there's like just a fun, lighthearted element to them, and that's what this camera gives. And another thing I love about it is that everybody knows how to use it because of that. So you can bring it to a party or a vacation and you can give it to a stranger to take a photo of you. You can give it to your friends to take pictures. It's just a lot of fun. So I would definitely recommend this to you if you're just getting into film photography, you have a little bit of interest in it, and you're wanting something a little bit more low pressure, a little simpler to use, something to learn on, or even if you are just looking for a fun summer waterproof camera, honestly. I am combining these two cameras for this next one. I have my Pentax Zoom 90 WR and my Olympus Superzoom 70S. And the reason that I'm combining these is that Both of these are an example of that one step up from a disposable film camera, something a little bit more professional, a little higher quality. Maybe there's a little bit more control, but they're still very simple point and shoot film cameras. I got the Olympus for $21 on eBay, and this Pentax was part of a $35 bundle on KSL, which is Craigslist in Utah, basically. And I got 2 other cameras with it. So, as you can tell, great deals all around for these. And that's basically what I want to express to you, is that there are so many film camera point and shoots of all different brands available secondhand. Your parents might even have one in your storage. I know mine did, and I was shocked because my parents aren't photographers, but just everybody had a film camera back in the day because that's what was available. This Pentax was my next step up from the Lomography Simple Use. I went a summer using the Lomography Simple Use, getting used to it, figuring out if film was something that I was really interested in. And then I invested in my little upgrade for what's a third of $35. I'm stupid, I don't want to do mental math. I took some of my first really great photos on this Pentax, and then I eventually ended up upgrading to this Olympus, just because it's a little bit lighter weight than the Pentax. I also had an issue with the Pentax where the back would open up when it was laying against me. So there are little quirks like that from these old cameras. You know, they're not going to be perfect. What I would recommend is when you are looking for them secondhand, make sure that they're not just listed for parts. Make sure that they are listed by the seller, that they've actually used them and that they are proven to work. It might end up being a little bit more expensive, like $35 instead of $10, but worth it, obviously. This Olympus is mostly what I use these days if I just want that simple point and shoot. Since it is lighter, I can just throw it in my bag. I brought this to the Eras tour and took great photos. I brought this to Greece. I brought this to Japan. And this is really what I would recommend. This type of camera, this level, where it has a zoom, it has a flash. It is going to take higher quality photos than your disposable-esque camera like the Lomo Simple Use. But there still isn't a lot of control to it. You don't have to do a lot of thinking and like manual settings and everything like that. You probably want to be a little bit familiar with photography and cameras before getting one of these, but they are super simple to learn as well. And obviously very easy to find and very cheap. Finally, getting to my current main film girly, this is the Pentax ZX50. And I got this on eBay for $32. It was just the camera base, not the lens. And I think I got the lens for a birthday gift. I think it was about $50. So a little bit more of an investment, but you can still really keep things affordable with this. And like I said before, this really is that next step up in the film photography game. You have that ability to change out the lenses. That's huge. But it also does complicate things a little bit. There are more settings. You can do manual settings on this. You can change out the different lenses. There's more freedom for expression on this, which also makes it harder to use if you're just getting into photography. Now, that being said, what I love about this camera specifically is it is a newer film SLR, which means it's like 90s instead of 70s. So it still has automatic options and capabilities, which I personally really love to have that option. You still have the ability to change the manual settings when you need to, but it has automatic settings similar to a digital camera built in. Like when you're shooting on a digital camera and it just has auto settings, it changes the lighting, it changes how it takes the picture based on what it's sensing. It has that type of capability. So you're not having to do the manual settings on every single photo like you will with an older film camera. It gives you a lot more control, and you can start learning those more technical elements of photography while still having a safety net, which is something that I find I really appreciate as somebody who just grew up with digital photography and didn't have to learn those manual settings. It honestly is pretty lightweight for a camera this size, but it is still bulkier than a point and shoot. So I mostly use this for my more professional photo shoots. Also, something about at least these Pentax automatic SLRs that I've read is that the motor inside is plastic, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but it's fragile enough that it can really break at any point, especially because these are older already. And it's not something that's really like easy to fix. It's something that you just need to get another camera at that point. So that is something that I'm always aware of. If I am going out for like a professional photo shoot, I always make sure to bring an extra camera with me. All in all, I would recommend this to somebody who is looking to take film photography a little bit more seriously. If you're really wanting that better quality, the more control, this is for you. I do have a Pentax KX Asahi that is from the 70s that is that like fully manual control. This is definitely like my next frontier of my film hobby. But if you're like me and you're a little bit intimidated by the fully manual film camera, just get that automatic film camera. It's a really great in-between. Finally, we have reached full-on modern digital cameras, but we still want something other than our phone camera. Obviously, there are hacks to take great iPhone photos, but sometimes you just want the look of a camera. Starting with this Olympus X42 digital camera, this is just so cute. Let's be honest. I got this because it was cute. I got it because I just wanted a little pocket digital camera that was red. This is maybe my newest camera, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I got it last summer. I kept seeing all of the digital camera vibe photos all over TikTok last year, and I just needed it. And so I looked all through eBay, Poshmark for a good price, and ended up getting this one for $25 on Poshmark. Now listen, if you want this type of camera, you do not need to get this exact one. All you need to do is search on eBay, red digital camera. That's it. Go through. The thing with getting good prices is you're gonna have to go through a ton of different searches, but it's worth it because you get a great price and a great camera. Pawn shops are another cool place for this. And again, ask your mom or dad if they have their old one from like the early 2000s when these were just coming out. This is another point and shoot type camera that it really has those simple zoom, flash settings. Maybe some of them are gonna have like slightly different features of like filters or fun things you can add on. This one also takes video, which is fun, but they're very simple. And like I use this one for vacation, nights out. I'll just throw this in my bag, honestly, a lot of the time if I think there might be an opportunity for photos, just because it's so lightweight and so small. And it's just fun. This gives a little bit more of a vintagey look because it is that like slightly lower digital quality than our phones currently are. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's just a different vibe that you can't really get with an Instagram filter. This is probably the number one suggestion I would give for you if you are just wanting to spice up your Instagram photos, but not looking to really get in the weeds with photography. It's super straightforward, just like using an iPhone, and you can instantly transfer the photos to your phone and post them. It's also a great hack to be a little bit more present during nights out or trips. Instead of just pulling your phone out all the time to get pictures, you just have this. And last but certainly not least, this is my big girl camera, my first like professional camera. This is the Olympus OMD EM10 Mark III. I got her on eBay for $315, which is actually a really great deal. She is my workhorse, truly. She does it all. She's a single mom who works 2 jobs. Like, she's great for portrait shoots. She's great for content creation. She's great for just like fun Instagram photos with my friends. She's great for travel. Now, if you know, you know, but I do have to admit, I was influenced to get this camera by Miss Taylor Swift herself. This is the camera that Taylor Swift uses. She does have the slightly newer version, the Mark IV, and she has the silver color scheme. But what that means is that I can take photos with her iconic filter. Only Swifties are gonna get this, but Taylor Swift takes all of her photos on her personal camera with a specific filter. And for years, people were like, what filter is this? Like, where is she getting this? Like, literally, Swifties actually refer to this as the fuck-ass filter because it is just so funny to see because you can immediately tell when somebody's photo that they post on Instagram was taken on Taylor Swift's camera because it uses this very specific filter that she has stuck to for years. So I would be lying if I didn't say that that was part of the reason that I got this specific camera. But it's also just a really good camera, and I did a lot of research on it before I got it that was other than that. But that was the initial reason I wanted this camera, and I just feel like that's kind of a little fun fact for me owning this camera. Like everything else in my life, it was influenced by Taylor Swift, yes. Now this is a micro four thirds camera, technically, not a DSLR. I've tried to look into like what the difference is. It's very technical, so go look that up yourself, please. I should not be the one to explain it. But it still has all those same like controls that you want out of a DSLR. You have great auto options, great manual capabilities. The photo quality is just so good. And it is still like pretty lightweight and compact, but it definitely still has that like weight of a professional camera that you would expect. It also has 4K video, which is a great bonus, but heads up, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for like a podcast or vlog camera. Anything where you want to connect an external microphone, it doesn't have that capability, unfortunately. And it also is pretty shaky. It doesn't really have like an internal stabilization that I've figured out, at least. So it's a little shakier unless it's on a tripod, but I have used it for video and the video is great quality. If you are looking to take photography more seriously, this is a really great entry-level option, I feel like. Just in my experience, at least, I've had no issues with it, and anyone I've taken photos of hasn't had any issues with it. It's just really nice. Instead of dropping thousands of dollars, you can drop way less, especially if you're able to find it secondhand. And of course, if you're a Swiftie like me, honestly, you need it. I don't know what else to say. Those are all of my cameras, guys. If you skip to here, I'm just gonna do like a quick little cheat sheet. If you don't want to watch the whole video, I don't blame ya. I do like to yap. So here's just a quick like what I would recommend for just like phone upgrade content. Like you like taking pictures on your iPhone, you want something a little bit more. I'd recommend the point and shoot digital camera, maybe the Lomography simple use, like point and shoot disposable reloadable camera, Instax mini. Maybe if you are really wanting that higher quality, even the Olympus OMD EM10 Mark III might be something to just fully skip to. Best beginner film camera, honestly all three, but definitely that Lomography simple use or just any brand point and shoot film camera. Go back to that section. I tell you exactly what to look for. And if you are an aspiring content creator or a photographer and you are needing that higher quality right off the bat, I would definitely go straight to that automatic Pentax SLR film camera, the Olympus OMD EM10 Mark III, and even the Instax Mini Evo. Instant photos just have that fun vibe. Like I mentioned before, everybody loves it. So it could be a really fun add-on if you are a photographer. Just include a few instant photos. Or if you are creating content, being able to take pictures on that instant photo and post that for a little bit of variation in your content. And I just wanted to quick mention some other cameras I've been eyeing. Obviously, I can't speak to how these actually work because I don't own them, but this is what's on my wish list and what might be worth looking into if you're like me and you're camera obsessed. I know I've said that a million times, but I'm just forever adding to my wish list. So here you go to add to your wish list. The Fujifilm film simulation cameras. I want one of those so bad. Actually, those like going so viral on TikTok is what made me look into and eventually find the OMD EM10 Mark III, because there are like similar film simulation, like filter simulation options that you can do with that. The Fujifilm cameras are like in the thousands of dollars, which is just out of my price range right now. But one day, they just came out with the half frame version too. That's like a little bit more like film simulation. I actually saw people in the film community making fun of it because it's just kind of like, I don't know. Some people think that that's just kind of like corny to make a digital camera that is emulating film so much. Like, why not just do film at that point? Like, keep digital, film. I don't know if I really agree with that because, you know, I'm just in it for the love of the game. I just like taking photos. So that one is one that I'm definitely thinking about as well. And it's a little bit of a cheaper price tag too. I think it's like $800, which is still definitely out of my budget. The DJI Osmo Pocket 3, I think, is the newest one. That one's like $800. I really want that for like a podcast and vlogging microphone. I think it does let you add an external microphone, I'm pretty sure, which is really what I'm looking for out of my next camera. My next investment will definitely be something that really prioritizes video and audio, because I do a podcast and I have started long form video content creation, as you can tell from watching this. So that's definitely on my list next, as well as I've been eyeing the Sony ZV-1F, I think is the one. There's like 2 versions of this, where one of them is cheaper, but it doesn't let you add an external mic, and one of them is more expensive. I think like $400, $500, but it does let you add an external mic. I've been looking at the one that is white. I just think that that would be a really cute, like fresh color to have. I have a lot of black and silver cameras, as you probably noticed, as well as, this is random, but I would just really love a simple digital camera that has the viewfinder that can flip forward like selfie style, so that you can see yourself while you take photo or video. There's a few like older ones and a few newer ones, but I want a good quality one of those, and obviously at a decent price. So that style is also on my wish list. Now that we have been over all of these cameras, obviously I would be remiss to not mention that there are obviously so many other elements that are important when it comes to photography, whether it is literally having to buy the physical film to take photos on film cameras or instant cameras, equipment like tripods, lighting, external flash, camera bags, adapters to take the photos from the digital camera and put them onto your phone. But that would make this video go on for so long, because there are seriously so many just like little items that I use that I never realize until I'm around my non-photographer friends. So instead of making this video even longer than it already is, I went ahead and made an Amazon list that you can go check out. I'll link it in the description so that you can see all of my recommendations for what products I use. And as always, if you have any questions on anything, feel free to either comment below or even reach out to me on my social media at Forever Becca on Instagram and TikTok. I am always happy to talk shop with my fellow picture photography camera lovers. If you liked this different style of beginner-friendly deep dive of camera and photo inspo, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Let me know in the comments which camera really caught your eye in this, or if I missed one of your favorites, please let me know. As I've mentioned a million times in this video, I'm forever adding to my wish list. And for more exclusive content and links that I only share with my email besties, make sure you sign up for my newsletter, The Forever Letter. It is brand new. I'm super excited about it. The plan right now is to send out emails every 2 weeks, and I will also have that linked in the description. Love you guys, and until next time, sending you love.